Alright, so here what I've done is I've taken my level and I've drawn a line that marked level about where that is, and then I measured the center of this log, and I'm doing, the windows are 25 inches wide, so I'm doing 26 and a half, that way I've got room for the frame. So I made her 13 and a quarter out off center both ways, and that is the piece that I'm going to be removing in order to frame up the window. And on the inside I've marked the horizontal line because the verticals will come through when I cut straight with the circular saw this way. So that's what you'll see now. Well, you get the idea. That's how it's cutting out. That's not making it through here, as you can see. So, that's what I'm doing. So you'll see the end results when that's fixed or taken care of. Well, there's the first test fit, and I left room for shimming. I purposely left quite a bit of room, but looking at it with that test fit, seeing how the width is exactly where I want it to be, maybe I will just trim it shorter and make it so I don't need that extra shimming space. I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna frame around it anyways. Well, that's the plan, but we'll see. I didn't have space to pull out the windows and lay them out and measure them and test them that way, which probably would have been better, eliminating a little bit of that imperfection. Like I said, I purposely left that space. I can raise that or lower it according to how I like it once things are done. I'm not going to make those a permanent part of that until I'm not going to, make the windows permanent until I finish the wall. At least that high. But that's what it'll look like on both sides. And those are the windows that I have all around. They're matching that, and you see I've had them in storage outside, so they're a bit dirty, but here you can see what I'm talking about. They have that little handle to reel open and shut, and the security latch here for, I think, letting them open, and screens, so that's really nice. So from the inside it's like that, and it'll have a little frame around it here as well, just a mitered frame. And there's my little pal hanging out, having fun, and being safe. I like that part. And so, just figured I'd show you that. That's the first one I've seen in place, so I'm excited. The other ones are too big to test fit. So anyways, that's it, and we'll carry on. So that is the only spot right up there, and it'll be the same thing on the other side of the door, of everywhere that's not going to need particular joinery to get through it. Just going to be put in place, and that's it, with flat ends, and that'll be really nice. It's not a whole lot of space there that's actually going to show in the end because of the mitered frame that I'll put around the doors and windows, but that's going to make that space really quick and easy. It's tempting to just cut it all the way up, but the thing is that I can use scraps, which I'm going to have no matter what, to fill in those gaps. And so I'm just going to hold off, and whenever I have a set of scraps that will fill it, then I'll go ahead and do that rather than wasting the longer materials. So that's the plan for now. If I get the itch and just go for it, then you'll see that side go up more. There's that space between the window and the door frame on either side there. But I'm going to work on a little something to show more change. That back wall, probably need to raise that up. We'll see. Okay, so I put that new chain on there, and when I purchased this, the guy advertised it as sharp chain and all that. Of course, you know, this is my first chainsaw, so I didn't know. And I just gave it a try, and it cut at an angle, and all sorts of things that I learned. You know, it was really fine sawdust. So this is what it was. You can see the lower level. There's some chips from just now, but the lower level, that's what was coming off of it before. Not those long ones, but just that really fine stuff. And I just give it a try here, and this is what's coming off it now. Beautiful, the way it should be. And look at that nice straight cut. And before it would deviate like this, you can see there, whoop, off to the side. So trying to think if I had another piece that I had started on to show. I do. It's over here that I'm going to use for a torch, just to, so there we go. See that? That was you can see at the top, it was, the bar was put in straight this way, so straight down would have been right here. And that's how far over it is. And it would just turn like that. And that's because the bar, which I flipped, I need to level it out there. You can see, so I put it in here, and that would have been, if I can get straight through here, would have been like over here. So that's 1 inch and 6 inches. Or 2 inches and 8 inches. Of deviation. So anyways, so you've seen the window, seen this go in, and I am just making sure these stay flush with the frames as we go up, and I'm staying to my templates for lengths now, and as I do that, everything's going to go up and stay the way it should be. Tonight I am out of light for filming, so whatever else I get done, just give you a quick update, and it'll seem like seconds for you. But there's one window framed up on that side, and I'm happy with that. So that's how it'll be. My little tiny helper there can just barely reach the bottom of that window frame to set something up on top of it. So I got that was a lot faster for the for cutting out the joinery here. And of course this time, it's not as flat as a circular saw, but man, that's faster. And I'm going to still continue doing the top, that is these pieces, one by one, to match, since I'm not following a template per se, since I didn't like the templates I made. But here, this is one thing I didn't like, was all this tear out on the outside, but honestly, it's on the outside. That's not a huge big deal, and I can sand it down a little bit later. And so I cut that side with the top of the bar, I cut this side with the bottom of the bar, and then tried to smooth it out a bit. And I'm still learning, but we'll get it. You can see, with the circular saw, obviously it's a lot cleaner cut, but equally effective, and I'd rather save some time and get some things done more quickly, because next set of days off we're headed up to do some camping in the wilderness, and this is gonna wait a few days sitting the way it is, so hopefully we don't get any big storms. Oh, she's okay. So anyways, I wanted to share that update with you. I'm super happy with that new chain. I'm going to be really happy sharpening the old one so that I've got a spare to swap with. But man, it cut like butter. It was wonderful. I love a new chain. Sharp cutting blade. Same thing for the Diablo blades that I've been using. I really like them. They cut real well, and I just gotta figure out the circular saw situation, because you saw that smoking earlier. That's not gonna stand up to a whole lot more, but we'll see how we do. And that's the update for now. Thanks for joining me. Please like, subscribe, share, all the good stuff. I appreciate you. So what we got done today, apparently I always start with so. That's what I'm noticing. What we got done today was getting that cut out, getting that framed in for the window, getting this piece in, getting the joinery cut, not there, but on the back on both sides, and then getting that log assembled. And I cut this area with the chainsaw, different from what I had done before. I might have to, I did it in a bit of a hurry. I'll probably have to finish opening that space a little bit more. Over at the other end, you can see how that one turned out. There's a lot of tear out with the chainsaw, but that should be just right. These are a little bit lower relative to this, and so that's right where those need to be. This corner is doing really well. I'm going to pound that in a little bit at a different time when it's not too late to make noise. And things are getting right where they should be, and that's staying in place as well. And one thing that I am noticing on the other end is that it's not staying in place real well. I pulled these in as much as I could and put a screw there to hold them in. Now this one can come in more, but I can't hold it in. And one thing I realized is that these can come in more. What's holding them out is that spacer that I put right there, where I thought I had messed it up. Well, I cut it to the distance, or the width, the distance in from the end, based on the wider base, and because I placed that huge spacer, it pushed everything else out, and that's where the wall bows out, as you can see. So that's a mistake I made there. But I also, that one's, it looks like, see, there's spaces there, and then whoop, there's a space here. You can see. So I think all I need to do is take out that spacer block, hammer it this way a little bit, and maybe clamp it that direction so that I can put some screws in like I have for the rest of them, because apparently I didn't screw that one in. All the rest are screwed in, and that way they don't do exactly that. Either way, I'm going to be framing that mitered frame larger than that space, so I'm not extremely worried about it, but I don't want that big of a gap anywhere, honestly. And that looks like it might be an easy enough fix to pull that out and hammer it in and place a smaller spacer in that area. So we'll see. Hopefully that's all it takes, and then that'll help to close these others. And because I was thinking, oh, that one's so flush and beautiful, and that's a huge gap, and then I've got gaps everywhere else, and that space over there, that gap, resolves that huge concern, thinking there's no way that that is going to be, you know, anything else would be resolved if that was totally flush the way it should be. But since I've got about that size of gap there and there and there, and this is curving back in to where it should be by that space, hopefully that's all I need to do. Remove that spacer and pound it in and screw things together so they don't move. I was also thinking about the fact of how these are wiggly, and I can, right now, because I've put these two screws in at a diagonal, that's my solution to that, because this was really wiggly, and before I did that, that would go back and forth significantly. I mean like 4 inches. That would move. This was able to just wobble out to about here. So this board right here all the way over to this area, just back and forth, and it would do that all the way down. And I just thought, well, a diagonal screw that goes in and goes into these boards here would be beneficial. So I think what I'm going to do once I get this resolved, I'll probably pull that one out, clamp that closer together, and screw it in. So I'm just going to grab one of my pipe clamps, put it back here, and over here pull that in and put a longer screw diagonal right through here like that. So I've got some 3-inch screws that should get me into there a little ways so that it'll stay where it should. And if I do that all the way, then that'll strengthen that up significantly. And that's just going to make it so that it doesn't wobble before I get things tied together a little bit more. But with more weight, that should stabilize significantly with the joinery. But we'll see. And the wobble is not with it's not with the tongue and groove areas, it's just with the flat dovetail areas, and that has to do with my imperfect dovetails, as you can see there, and not having a jig. I'll do that same thing over here, clamp it and pull it in and put a screw in it diagonally so they stay where they should. I'm using screws all over the place anyway, so I'm not worried about using one more on each log just to keep it real stable. But I'm choosing to keep for the inner layer, the prettier logs like this that have some detail on them. And I guess that's working out, because my little girl was in here earlier, she was saying pretty as she felt through here. And so that's what I wanted. I just want to have a space that we can enjoy. It's feeling a little bit more significant, even though it's not even halfway done, really. Halfway, but not halfway? I don't know. Yeah, right there, that wall bows out. I'd made the same mistake on both sides. But at least we're progressing. Now that side here, I need to put 2 more logs on top of that, and then we'll cut out the window. And like I said, I'm going to use scraps to go up there instead of just finishing it. And it's really tempting, but we'll just go ahead and do that because that's going to be the most material efficient way to go. And so we've got that cut out, that brought up a layer. I need to do those pieces there. And what I should do, I don't know. I want to get some way to start doing this a little more uniform so that I could just cut them out and place them instead of having to cut every board individually. And this is actually sloped the wrong way. If I look at it, it looks like it's sloped out a little bit, and that's the opposite of what I want. So I do have a bandsaw that might be just what I need for doing these in a more uniform way. And if I utilize that, maybe it'll make it so that I can use some jigs and get that done faster and more uniform, and with a slope this direction, so that it holds themselves in place instead of just being holding it toward that direction. Now, this wall is super stable from both sides, not like that back wall. So let's see how that back wall is here. So it's pretty stable now. Yeah. So those 2 screws made a huge difference. Longer screws and having it exactly where I need is going to make an even bigger difference. So I'll do that and see how things turn out. But that's not going to be tonight. Tonight I'm just letting you know how things have ended on this day. Here you can see how the wall bows out there, and see that huge spacer, and that one is the one with the gap there. So we'll have to clamp those one by one. I don't have enough clamps for all of them at the same time, but I've got a few. So we'll see if we can make that work and get that back closer to straight up and down before we proceed. We'll see. Because that little gap, there's no reason for that little gap to be there. I cut that just right. And using my templates, so it's getting a lot better. Well, that's where we're at today. One more tool to put away. And getting that frame up is a big part. I was thinking that was going to be a little bit taller in my head. I was thinking a little taller relative to the door. Now, it's still taller than I am when it's all framed in. My head doesn't come up to the top of that. Another shot there. See? So that's fine. And really, it's a window that you'll be looking at out of when you're sitting, mostly. But it's alright. I was still thinking, for some reason, I mean, I marked it. Did I mark the top? I did. So it ended up being, so the window started where I marked it at the bottom, and then up here, top of the window being right there, and that's right where the top of the window is. I have room to elevate it just a little bit within that frame, and I'll probably end up doing that. so that it's, instead of being right where that line is right there, so that it, you know, leaving that 1.5 gap at the top, so that it leaves so that it's just a little bit taller. Like I said, I'm gonna miter frame around, so you won't be able to see any of that. You'll just see the window. But that's it. That's all the changes for today. And see if I can get back to where you can see. There we go, the whole thing. Again, thanks for joining me, for spending some time watching my content and hopefully enjoying it. Let me know if you've got any suggestions for the work I'm putting into this cabin, and do you think it'd be more efficient to finish that back wall before the front and the sides here? That's a consideration, because if I do that, then I know the rest is going to go faster just because more materials are going into that back wall. But if I do everything else, then it's an easy, simple area to focus on in the back, where there are more details up front and the sides. I want to go pretty parallel, which obviously I'm doing it in steps right now, just focusing on different areas, but keep it relatively the same. And then if the rain picks up again, we can do something to cover it easier than if we have it all uneven. It is going to rain in a few days. We're supposed to get 2 days of rain, so we'll see what we can do between now and then for covering the floor. But go ahead and smash that like button, that subscribe button. Click on that if you haven't already, so you can get the latest updates. And thank you for joining me. Leave your comments and let me know if you've built a cabin kind of like this, how you did it. And if you have videos, then go ahead and throw that link up in the comments so I can watch them, because I'll definitely be happy to take ideas from those who have done it before me. So I appreciate y'all. Thank you much.